What foods are better purchased already cooked rather than the effort cost it takes to prepare it yourself?
There's a book for this concept called Make the Bread, Buy the Butter.
Croissants. Curiously looked up how to make from scratch. Hard no from me.
Not food but a condiment ketchup. I once made my own out of fresh tomatoes. It took 3 hours and ended up tasting like any cheap no-name ketchup from a supermarket.
Filo pastry.
Do it. Don't put yourself through it. I was intensely curious, and decided to make some diabetic-friendly ketchup for my mom. I got the purest and freshest ingredients I could. Then spent 2-3 days slow cooking and refining. I tasted and looked identical to Heinz, who, I learned later, already make their own diabetic-friendly ketchup. What movie or TV show do you find overrated?
Fast, and the only reason we're still watching them is waiting for those two guys to fuck.
Avatar. James Cameron.
Game of Thrones. It's just a bunch of slow build and G.R.R. Martin's fascination with wieners.
Movie Titanic. TV show Friends. The news.
Friends. It's just a bunch of morons living in NY.
Breaking Bad.
Star Wars movies, Matrix trilogy, LOTR movies.
The Office.
Yaiba.
Ghostbusters has put me to sleep within 30 minutes every single time I've tried to watch it. It's dull and boring and, though I can't really argue why, it feels so full of itself. And yeah, I mean the original, haven't watched any of the others.
Oppenheimer. There is absolutely no reason it needed to be in 70mm IMAX. Not even HD was necessary.
The Walking Dead.
What kind of car would Satan drive?
A lifted Dodge Ram.
I think the devil drives a Coupe de Ville.
Lucifer drives a 1962 tuxedo black Chevrolet Corvette P.
Lamborghini Diablo.
Cybertruck.
The one from Mad Max Fury Road with the drums and flaming guitar guy.
PT Cruiser convertible with flames on the side.
1960 blacked out Cadillac. Coupe de Ville, of course.
Yeah, perfect. Flexed biceps.
NGL, devil giving Dodge Charger vibes.
An electric motor, the most evil contraption ever conceived. Michael Keaton's Batmobile. Adding red flame artistry to it.
Something unassuming, like a Honda minivan with a coexist sticker. That guy is always trying to convince the world he doesn't exist.
A lifted Chevy van, of course.
What are some things people born after 2000 will never understand? Not having everything you do recorded. I'm so glad there's no evidence of all the stupid embarrassing stuff me and my friends did. The downside is I only have like half a dozen pictures of me and my friends as teenagers.
The internet before it was as sterile and corporate as it is now. The Wild West days will be missed greatly.
Carrying around your CD binder. Not knowing where anyone was or what they're doing. Remembering phone numbers. If you missed an episode, it's gone baby. Ask your friend or catch it in a few years on a rerun.
Y2K and the panic that ensued.
Not having access to the internet 24/7. There was usually just one computer in the house and usually your parents were always on it and you had to beg to use it.
What's a myth people need to stop spreading as truth?
That people's ignorance is just as valid as someone's knowledge.
Almost every alleged quote from Albert Einstein I've seen shared online was dubious in origin, at best. He almost certainly never said both the universe and stupidity are infinite. He never said the definition of insanity was doing the same thing over and over expecting different results, and he never said compound interest was the eighth wonder in the world or the most powerful force in the universe.
Wealth equals brains. Alphas. It's a bullshit idea about hierarchy in wolf packs that has been disproven.
Our society is entirely based upon many myths. Are you looking to start Mad Max here?
We only use 10 of our brain. It is everywhere and people believe it.
America bad.
Would you be opposed to removing one nation under God from the Pledge of Allegiance, and why or why not?
One nation, under Canada, above Mexico. Robin Williams.
It was inserted by Congress in the early 50s as a reaction to the Red Scare. And even though the original pledge has socialistic origins, I'm not a fan of pledging loyalty to a government. Loyalty to governments can be earned and lost.
Opposed? I advocate for blatantly violates the Establishment Clause. Just because people in favor of the addition say it doesn't specify the Christian God, even though everyone knows that's what it means, doesn't make it any more. Removing one part of the pledge is the wrong entire pledge is weird and flirts with indoctrinating cult-like bullshit, and we should do away with it entirely.
Have you ever listened to a person talk for less than a minute and know you weren't going to get along with that person? What did they say?
If I get the feeling that their political views are their entire identity, we probably ain't going to get along.
Lady from Kentucky started off with, so, what church are you? I should have said, aren't regional differences interesting? Where I'm from, one wouldn't ask that question until you got to know someone much better. But I didn't have that ready, so I just said St. Vincent Lombardi's because I'm usually watching football on Sunday.
You don't have a right to speak about that. Cause you're a cis white man. We were talking about how ancient Egyptians were all black. And I am Egyptian.
When he said he would disown his son if he turned out to be gay.
It's a vibe thing more than what they leased for me.
What's a song that emotionally breaks you every single time?
Mad World by Gary Jules.
Fire and Rain by James Taylor. One of the few songs I've seen my mum cry to. It was a song that was special to her and her mum.
Tears in Heaven and Cat in the Cradle.
When She Loved Me, Sarah. It is from a kid's movie Toy Story 2, but damn, that song makes me sad every time.
Drive by the Cars.
Black Gives Way to Blue by Alice in Chains.
Rainbow Connection.
Logic 1800. Even though I'm not suicidal, it's just a really sad song.
Philadelphia by Bruce Springsteen.
See You on the Other Side by Ozzy. Reminds me of my brother, who we lost way too early.
Do you realize? Flaming Lips, Mouth, Heart?
Daddy by Korn. Colorblind by Counting Crows gets me all in the feels. What is the female equivalent of a man-child?
Usually the ones who say everyone around them is causing drama.
Personally, I think it's those women that got stuck in the 15-year-old being mean is cute cool mindset, and they're just assholes to everyone, and then they cry when someone stands their ground.
Drama queen.
If you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best ones.
Woman child.
Princess.
Women who are stuck in the popularity contest from high school. The ones that are chronically on social media and are constantly obsessed with how people view them. They are entitled, selfish, and manipulative. Talk shit behind your back, and can't seem to get a grip on adulthood and reality.
Princess Syndrome.
Judging by all her comments,
Ma'am child.
Dependopotamus.
Daddy's girl.
If you could pick your job, what would you be?
Professional bed tester.
Amazon delivery station process assistant.
I'd be a commercial pilot. My mental health is standing in the way, and by being able to be a pilot it would also mean that those issues would go away.
Inventor.
Semi-retired billionaire automotive tech inventor.
A successful travel influencer getting paid to go abroad to fun places and be given nice clothes to promote seems like a pretty idyllic lifestyle.
Pilot.
Professional farter.
Making and developing innovations on quality stringed instruments, and wooden products in general. Getting paid to make artistic works with my chosen medium would be a dream come true.
General practitioner.
A movie director.
I would do nothing.
Professional dog mom.
App developer.
A chartered accountant.
Teacher.
What does everyone keep their AC set at?
Unless it's 70 or above, it's too fucking cold.
So, I see that this is a Celsius-based sub.
69.
68, 72 year-round 2022C. Usually about 16 or 18.
25.
In the car it's always set to low.
Between 22 and 23C.
I don't have one.
I find having an AC of 20 to 21 makes it hard enough for enemies to hit you.
Only place I've ever had AC was LA.
16.
72 is perfect.
Off.
76. I have vaulted ceilings. I'd hate it.
My builds usually work out to having an AC of 13-15. Sometimes less.
I prefer to keep mine at 68 degrees Fahrenheit.
Unfortunately my AC is either heating or nothing as I live in the UK.
Don't have AC.
68. What do a lot of parents do that unknowingly screws their children over?
Not taking the time to explain themselves on certain topics. The whole do as I say because I said so or because I had you is not effective.
Forgetting what it was like to be that age, and expecting their kids to react differently to things than them when they were that age.
Not teach them to think for themselves.
They fail at letting their kids fail and figure out how to recover. It prevents the kids from becoming resilient.
Shouting at them instead of having a conversation.
Not apologize when they're wrong.
Might sound a little contradictory, but either not disciplining them or disciplining them way too much.
Over-sheltering them. You can't protect your kids 24/7 for their whole lives. It leads to naive adults that get taken advantage of.
Putting excessive pressure on their children to meet their own unfulfilled aspirations.
Who is the most famous person you've slept with?
My wife. During COVID, she was in charge of recording a lot of phonics videos to share on YouTube for her preschoolers to study from. She hasn't worked there for 2 years, and the school still uses her videos, which are fairly popular for a small-town preschool's YouTube channel. I know, I could totally bond with any of Taylor Swift's former boyfriends over the trials of dating a famous woman.
A porn star, but we were both awkward teens and she was a late bloomer into her hotness, so please don't misinterpret this as me having any game.
Back in high school, I hooked up with a girl who was in a bunch of beauty pageants. She was semi-famous for about a year. Beautiful girl, but too uptight.
An NFL player.
I fucked LeBron James.
Myself.
Logan Paul's fiancé.
He was a popular jock in high school, but we hooked up in college. Why men don't understand women.
Me too, what's you know, everything's shit. Me shit bro, wanna talk. Man not now, maybe later. Me too, what's wrong? Woman nothing. Me okay, seriously storms off.
Dumb stereotype for 2 reasons. 1. There are a lot of men who do a great job of connecting with women and are motivated to make them feel supported. 2. It makes shitty men feel like they have an excuse not to try to connect with women in a supportive way, cause what you gonna do? I'm a guy. Women can't be understood.
Because women no use complete sentence in question.
The social norm that it's not feminine to be assertive and simply tell somebody what you want, combined with our lack of telepathy.
Women also don't understand it's just better to love them for what they are rather than trying to understand them.
Do you sleep naked or with clothes? Why?
Depends if I'm hot or cold.
Naked always, naked. Feels good, man.
All natural as it is, more even of a temperature regulation for me. Also never gets too hot temp-wise.
Nude, it's hot.
Because my body needs sleep regularly.
Just my underwear. Rolling around in bed naked feels uncomfortable.
Clothed. I am very uncomfortable naked.
My bed shorts and a hoodie.
Clothes. Grew up in South Africa where break-ins would happen. Being clothed and ready is way safer.
I used to sleep naked before I had children because it felt so much nicer, but I have 2 young children now who I co-sleep with, so I wear clothes now.
Boxers so my bare ass isn't touching the sheets.
Clothed. Some of my scars are sensitive.
Naked. Feels so much better.
Clothes. T-shirt and underwear usually.
What is the most beautiful country you have seen or visited?
Netherlands. I'm an infrastructure nerd. Everything just works so well together and they don't have to deal with hills or messy interesting landscapes to build infrastructure on.
Norway.
I'm going to say Scotland since no one mentioned it yet. The Isle of Skye and the Highlands lived up to the hype. Scotland is also kind of low-key in terms of tourism. It's not at the top of everyone's bucket list.
Seeing this question, I realize how not well traveled I am. I've only ever been to 2 countries, Japan and the US. The Japanese countryside is beautiful.
Palestine, Indonesia, Netherlands. If I had to pick one, it would definitely be Indonesia.
Greece. Tuscany in Italy was beautiful, but Greece is absolutely stunning.
Serious, what turned out to be a lot more expensive than you anticipated?
Rugs. Biggest shock when I got my own place.
Car repairs.
Root canal with a crown. I understand now why a lot of people just get the tooth pulled.
Landscaping. Even by yourself.
Chronic dental problems.
Life. Even just sitting in my apartment doing nothing costs $2,000 a month.
Skiing in Australia. $600 for 2 nights. A comp for the family, reasonable considering. $250 for snow clothes off FB Marketplace, not bad. $300 for ski and boot hire for 3 days. Pricey, but okay. $1,200 for lift passes for 1 day. WTF.
Being an adult.
Seriously, groceries. It's insane how high the prices have risen on everything.
What is the most overrated dish in the world? Anything with caviar.
Expensive food with gold shavings. What's that about? Do you eat it to feel rich and powerful or something? I'm sure gold doesn't taste very good and is not normally supposed to be eaten.
Foie gras is garbage.
Anything with American cheese.
Probably gonna get hell for this, but steak. I've had what other people describe as a good steak and I've only ever found it enjoyable. Not crazy good like a lot of people make it out to be.
The top comments on this post are, what?
Sushi.
Avocado.
Grits.
Expensive food with gold shavings. What's that about? Do you eat it to feel rich and powerful or something? I'm sure gold doesn't taste very good and is not normally supposed to be eaten.
Alfredo.
Fast food. It's shit.
What would you tell your 10-year-old self right now?
It's not going to matter who you tell. Nobody is going to listen to know what you're doing, more or less. It's going to a while. I don't know, drugs or A is lying to you, by the way. Nobody gives a shit.
Don't expect growing up is cool. It is not cool. Oh, and save $1 a day because you're basically broke when you're 24. Remember this moment with your dad. You will never see him again. Live to impress yourself first. Don't try to act grown up.
Tell your emotions to people because it just gets harder over time.
Grandma's gonna be okay. She's doing fine in my timeline 17 years later.
Buy shares of Monster Beverage Corp for 87,000 gains. Apple and Nvidia too.
A better way to clean up after masturbating.
Buy bitcoins. A fucking lot of you. Buy.
You can buy one thing priced under $300 for every person on Earth and it won't cost you anything. What will you buy them?
Clean water. Food. World hunger is very real. And even most rich people would probably like finding extra food.
A kit with a solar-powered lantern, mosquito netting, and some kind of water filtration system. Any extra budget would go to non-perishable food items like peanut butter or freeze-dried foods. $300 worth of food, the vast majority being non-perishables. Hunger is a real problem in this world and especially for the poorest people. $300 of food would be a huge game changer.
I would give everyone my self-published personal book on lifestyle coaching that I will write tomorrow and is coincidentally valued at $300.
Everyone shall have bidets on their toilets. Then world peace finally begins.
If you were to die based on your username, how would you go out?
Doritos and Mountain Dews.
Cheaply lol.
Homicidal owl.
Decapitated via small land shark in the year 2029.
Pretty good.
The opportunities are endless. Climbing a mountain. Ski accident. Plane crash. Flipped bus. Malaria.
Watch out, D'Alessandros. Here I come.
Read a cursed scripture and burst into dust.
Choking on bacon in France.
Shotgun.
I know.
I'd more than likely be the asshole to use you in such a manner.
Someone throws me a breakfast sandwich too hard. Probably I choked trying to catch it in my mouth.
Overdose on lettuce. Nice.
Defenestration from the CN Tower.
I beat the first one. The second one had a knife or something.
Twisted into a balloon animal.
Eating an expired sandwich and dying of a lung worm.
What game does every gamer need to play at least once? Skyrim. It's been sold so many times they even have it on toasters.
Super Mario Bros. 3.
Why Pokemon, of course.
Fire Emblem.
Minecraft.
I don't know about need to play, but I recommend Deus Ex, just to experience one of the building blocks of the immersive sim incredibly deep game, both in gameplay and it as a kid showed me how video games were capable of immersive storytelling, far more than other forms of media, and made me excited to experience the future of gaming, thus making me a lifelong gamer.
Deus Ex. It showed us a vision of the future of what games could be, one which largely failed to materialize outside of a few fun immersive sims from the likes of Arcane Studios.
How do I mod this?
Gary's mod.
What do you believe happens when people die?
The worms crawl and the worms crawl out. The worms play pinnacle right on your snout.
To sleep, perchance to dream.
Their bodies just decompose. Nothing happens. And I mean that literally. Absolutely nothing. They don't even see blackness, because blackness is still something. We can't imagine this kind of nothingness. Might sound scary, but it's actually very peaceful. There is no fear, no pain, no fear of missing out, no boredom, no loneliness. It is absolutely the most peaceful experience in the universe.
The energy in their body dissipates into the environment.
Most people forget that they ever existed. Sad but true.
Decomposition.
They die, obviously. I'm not sure exactly what this is asking.
What does Britain have that America doesn't have? Safe schools.
Dad spent some time in AE yesterday after a bad fall, and we won't be getting a bill.
A lot more looted art and artifacts from countries they conquered.
Steering wheels on the wrong side of the car. That means you have to change CDs with your left hand, use the cigarette lighter and ashtray with your left hand, grab your drink with your left hand, and basically every damn thing has to be done with your left hand. That's the wrong way to do stuff. Left hand is for Satan. In USA everyone is right-handed except for Satan's children.
Centuries of paper ink costs for putting you in words that don't need it.
Laws that will send you to prison for sending mean tweets.
No freedom.
A glorious revolution.
Healthcare.
Free healthcare. The ability to send your kids to school without worrying if they'll be coming home alive.
What do you absolutely hate more than anything on the internet?
Then clicks link. Reads you accept now we send you want to receive our like you have ad block up to read the full article.
Pop-up ads that just won't quit.
When people make claims and instead of providing proof say Google it.
Websites that don't list the prices of the products they're selling, like as if I'm going to email you so you can offer me a quote when there are other sites that offer the same products but aren't afraid to show their prices. Pouting face.
Coriander.
Social media is basically on a popular opinion or die, yet I'm still on Reddit. When people don't use blinkers, and suddenly take a turn even if it looked like they are not aiming to do it.
Experts. Everyone thinks they're a licensed psychoanalyst, or nutritionist, or veterinarian, or military strategist. It's absolutely wild.
How did your pet die?
Put him to sleep last night actually. 11 years with my German Shepherd. Best 11 years of my life. I've never had to do this before, so this was really hard.
Forgot to feed it for a week. Tamagotchi.
In 1994 she was hit by a car in front of me.
Vacuum cleaner.
She had a stroke seizure and the vet gave us the option of bringing her home with a suppository in case it happens again to say goodbye another time or say goodbye right then and there. The thought of it happening again if she was home alone was too much to bear. I couldn't do that to her, so I made the most painful decision I've ever made and let her go. She wasn't all there anymore. She wasn't my Daisy. If I took her home I'd be talking her body, not her mind.
All pets. I had died from old age related affections.
What is the worst mistake humanity has made?
Many were increasingly of the opinion that they'd all made a big mistake in coming down from the trees in the first place. And some said that even the trees had been a bad move, and that no one should ever have left the oceans. Douglas Adams.
Not being excellent to each other.
Social media broke the social mechanism of shame as a means of suppressing extreme stupid ideas.
The proliferation of plastic in everything, everywhere.
The Nissan Juke.
Thinking we exist in some sort of separate space outside the animal kingdom.
Generally believing that sacrificing where we live for material wealth is a good trade.
Granting corporations the protections of personhood without the responsibilities.
Gestures vaguely.
Thinking we will survive without the natural world.
Allowing chemical companies to pollute the food, air, land and sea. What screams I'm a boring person?
People who don't have their own opinion and just repeat what the majority of people say.
Putting please don't be boring in their bio.
People who lack curiosity are often not as interesting, as interesting individuals tend to be genuinely interested in various things.
It's someone who robs you of your alone without offering you companionship, according to Oscar Wilde.
Judging others' hobbies and interests.
Once you get to know someone, the majority of individuals turn out to be very intriguing. However, practically everyone has a polite wall that you must first go through.
Someone who's not curious, like never asking questions, never listening to what other people are saying, etc.
That's me. I'm a boring person.
Finding it very difficult to believe interesting life stories that other people have to tell.
What's the best follow-up to, I like my women like I like my coffee?
Lukewarm and bitter.
The $5 one from behind the train station.
Hot and full of liquor.
A gay friend of mine said that once. Followed by I don't. Pretty funny.
Black, bitter, preferably fair trade. Co. Ceolus-Leuki MMBM.
Large cups.
Ground up and stored in the freezer.
Without someone else's dick in it.
I think Patton Oswalt still has the best response, tied up in a sack and delivered on a mule by Juan Valdez.
Bitter and drunk regularly.
Hot, black and gone in the morning.
Dumped in a gas station parking lot before being immediately replaced.
Covered in bees.
I've always liked the phrase I like men the way I like my tea. In a bag, underwater.
Complex and full of depth, with a hint of sweetness to balance life's bitterness.
How are single-income households surviving in this economy?
I'm single with no children.
I'm doing a lot of rice. A lot of beans. Sometimes I do rice and beans. Other times I do beans and rice. It's pretty fucking cool.
I don't have kids. Even if I wanted them in the slightest, there's no way I could afford them. So I guess that's the secret.
Barely. I live in a hovel in the swamp. I'm in IT. Others probably have it worse. I get paid, pay bills, go grocery shopping, and am broke until the next paycheck. If I didn't work from home, saving me from buying so much gas, I'd starve to death.
By buying a house 15 years ago.
Old, well-maintained cars. Home-cooked food, eating out only once a week. Clothes used for years. One subscription service at a time. Condoms.
What is 1 horsepower of damage in real life?
Static shock. When you eat a chip, and it hits the roof of your mouth's sharp corner up.
Dropping your phone on your face.
Working on the engine of a car and bumping your head on the hood as you get up.
Saying bye to someone walking the same way.
When you pull a pizza out of the oven and take a bite without waiting for it to cool down and burn the roof of your mouth. You lose 1 hit point from the pain, but you also lose 5 intelligence points because you should have known better and will probably do it again at some point like I always do.
Pricking your finger for a blood sugar test. 1 horsepower, 1 drop of blood.
Trying to open a tight lid till it hurts.
Ironically, stepping on a D4.
A phone at full brightness in a dark room.
Brain freeze.
Paper cut.
Biting your tongue when you sneeze.
What product was so poorly designed that you suspect the team that made it? Never use the product.
My dishwasher beeps several times loudly when the cycle is done. Loudly enough that you can hear it outside the house. If you don't open the door, it will beep again 45 minutes later, and every 45 minutes forever until you do so. There is no way to silence this feature or reduce the. There's no such thing as starting the dishwasher at night and then going to bed in these designers' minds.
In my experience, most educational resources curriculums created by district employees that have never taught, or hasn't taught in 15 years. The amount of times they give this new fantastic module tool and it turns out to be an absolute shit show. Wild.
The damn Outlook search function.
What's that one game which made you cry?
Okami.
The one that fell off the shelf at HMV and landed on my toe.
Heavy Rain, one of the greatest games of all times. Jasoon.
Minecraft. Every once in a while I'll log on and tear up because of the music and nostalgia overload.
Final Fantasy VIII.
The scene once you beat Xenogears.
Cried from frustration or from emotional damage.
Halo 4 when Cortana dies of rampancy, scared face, crying face, crying face.
Old Minecraft.
What Remains of Edith Finch.
Computer game. Soma.
The Walking Dead, the Telltale series.
God of War.
One Shot.
Sally Face. Cried about 3,838,482 Valley. All I'm saying is Shane's cool scenes. I don't think I have to say anything more than that.
What are you proud to say you have never done?
I've somehow avoided 2 girls 1 cup after all these years.
Never broken the screen on a phone. First phone was the Nokia 3310.
Heroin. Done a lot of things, but never touched heroin.
Broken a bone.
I spent almost 2 years in heavy addiction to opiates. I never once stole anything from my friends and family in order to feed my addiction. I lied about being an addict and many other things. I hurt my family and scared my friends and all the mess that goes with being an addict, and completely derailed my life. But I never stole from. For clarity, I was employed the whole time. I didn't steal from anybody or ask for money under false pretenses.
I've never been arrested.
37 male here and never sent an unsolicited D-pic.
What is the most told person name?
Gertrude. Or any of the little old lady gemstone names like Pearl and Opalo.
Mildred.
Betty.
Jebediah.
Cusham. That is the oldest name we have found written down anywhere, dating back to Rukin 3000 BCE.
Harold. Keith. Chester.
Eleanor.
Roy.
First to mind is Dorothy.
There's just something timeless and classic about the name Evelyn.
The oldest person name is Cusham, and the earliest record is a piece of ancient Sumerian writing from around 3200 BC.
Adam and Eve.
Eustace.
Joe.
My grandparents were Edna and Urban. They were born in the 1920s, never met anyone else with those names.
Agnes, Fanny, Harold, Keith.
Esther.
Gladys.
Albert, Nora, Edith, Cecil.
I saw this yesterday. Esther.
Buckwheat.
Agnes.
Agatha.
What's something people typically don't know about cats until they have one as a pet? When they fall off something, they just start washing as if to say nothing's happened here, move on.
If a cat has a pink nose, the shade of pink changes depending on the weather temperature.
That they sometimes register smell through their mouth, so they'll sniff another cat's butt and then stare at you with their mouth partially open in a most unsettling way.
If you have a routine, they will adapt to it. My cat gets upset if we stay up late. He goes to lay in his bed and will meow to tell us it's bedtime. And the flip side though, if we try to sleep in, he wakes us up when we usually wake up. Lol, they snore.
Cats need entertainment too, or they will get destructive. They do learn their names and come when you call them, and they will follow you around. What is the worst thing to name your child?
Pee-pee. My former sil thinks it's short for Penelope, so she makes everyone call her little girl Pee-pee. I wish I was kidding.
My aunt was a nurse and once had a woman attempt to name her daughter Precious Angel. And I say attempted because the name she legally ended up with was Precise Angle. God, I hope that kid is good at math.
COVID. I read that people did this with their newborns during COVID.
Apparently not methamphetamine rules.
Botherus, Medusa, Rambo, or Moonshine. Used to know a dude named Moonshine. Dude was fucked up. Man, don't do that to your kid. My brother-in-law David wanted to name his son Harley. That way when someone introduced him it would go something like this. This is Harley, David's son.
Something unpronounceable.
Our tragedy.
What type of people is there a special place in hell for?
Child molesters and people who talk at the theater.
Mega church preachers.
Scammers.
The asshole that pitched 2 kittens that figured about 3-4 weeks old over my back fence during a blizzard. I found them eating out of my bird feeder. Reviewed my camera to try to identify the cocksucker. No such luck. They are a year old now. I named them Peter and Patter. Love them dearly.
People who prey on older adults and steal from them. Whether outright theft or overcharging.
People who abuse animals.
People who park in disabled parking spots when they aren't disabled.
Those who derive joy from harming others.
Me, I hope. I hate crowds.
Politicians.
Email and phone scammers.
People that microwave fish at the office.
People who dine and dash. How do you get laid?
Swallow 3 live goldfish while bathing in a pool of lukewarm jello left over from spring break in Miami circa 2019. After that, it's basically thrusting and crying.
I don't.
Strip naked and spread Miracle Whip on your ass cheeks.
Find the biggest, toughest, meanest, then say something foolish.
Follow rules 1 and 2.
Start with hello.
I use my penis.
I just whip it out.
Face $100.
Lay on your back and hold your D. You are laid.
Systematically lower your standards until you reach that magical equilibrium where your threshold finally meets the threshold of someone around you.
Crawl up a chicken's ass and wait.
Play the numbers game. Go out, look your best, and just approach everyone. If you need to get laid ASAP, without any adjustment to who you are, that's what you have to do.
What makes a man manly?
Physically fit and knowledgeable enough for basic types of labor like changing a tire, not afraid to get dirty, kind but with strong boundaries, punches up but not down.
Emotional intelligence.
Mandel's candles for manly men.
With in touch with his emotions and not being afraid to cry. Just kidding, fighting bears is the answer.
Deep voice. Kindness and confidence.
Not having fragile masculinity. Just be you, knowing how much of a man you are.
Having a pair of balls.
Testosterone.
It's the chromosome. Don't fight me, I am Jewish.
Being 6 foot apparently.
Simply confidence in themselves.
Simply belief and confidence in themselves and the ability to admit and change when they're wrong. He listens.
Big veiny penis.
Do no harm, but take shit from nobody. Also a deep voice helps.
What things are seen as weird by the younger generation that we need to normalize again?
Not having everything you do in public recorded. 2 random people arguing? Got a record car wreck? Don't help. Disaster? Don't run, stay and document it until someone has to rescue you, then get the rescue for maximum likes.
Not being accessible all the time. Just because I have a cell phone doesn't mean I want to answer it at the supermarket, or while cooking dinner, or while driving. That's cool that my boss checks emails in his Tesla driving 20 minutes to work, but I would rather not. I need a break.
Having the decency and manners to verbally cancel plans or say you'll be late in a timely fashion that's respectful of the other person's time and effort, instead of framing ghosting people as some kind of cute personality quirk.
What lesson have you had to learn again and again?
The cat only wants belly rubs when she wants to experiment with removing all the skin and flesh from my arm.
When people show you who they are, believe them.
When you're feeling nice and toasty, it's not a good idea to order another drink.
I'll do it later, bitch. No, you won't do it now.
Waking up in the middle of night to pee, and then getting on my iPad for a second.
Stop being a nice guy and just be a chill guy who is brutally honest with PPL when they need it.
Following this thread.
Don't do things when you are tired. Your subconscious is more in control and the part of your brain that deal with decision making is less active. You just make worse decisions, sleep it over.
That you can't make a home in someone else's heart. I've since learned that I'm safe within myself, and in my heart is a home I can always anchor to.
What is one thing that absolutely everyone can agree on?
Sand is a terrible pizza topping.
Air. We need air.
Cancer sucks.
Mosquitoes can fuck off.
Joffrey Baratheon was a prick.
Shitposting is common on askreddit.
We all gon' die.
Having wet socks on really sucks.
There will always be at least one user to disagree with you on Reddit.
Nothing.
Inflation sucks.
Nazis suck.
Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
Jeffrey Epstein didn't hang himself.
That everybody else is wrong.
Betty Wright is missed.
Getting stung by a murder hornet would hurt a little bit.
There's nothing absolutely everyone can agree on.
Dog backwards is God.
112 or 01.
Fun toys are fun, Ralph Wiggum.
We lost Steve, but the rest of the Irwins should be protected at all costs.
Mufasa deserved a better brother.
That Hitler was a very bad man.
Using only slogan. Where are you from?
50.
Welcome to City. It's not City 17, it's dry, hot, and known for gambling.
What exit you from? But seriously, the Garden State. This is how we teach kids their vowels, .e.I. O. U. A.
E pluribus unum.
Mamma mia, that's the spicy meatballs.
There's more than corn.
My city is Gotham, oh but without a Batman.
Virtute et armis.
There's no place like home.
Kick your heels up and shout. Throw your hands up and shout. Throw your head back and shout. Hey A-I-E-I-E-I-E.
Musical notes, 773 202 beep, boop, beep, boop, Luna. Musical notes.
Come see the very first Starbucks.
What everyday item should exist, but doesn't?
A device that cleans your room without you having to do it. A device you can use while shopping that automatically counts up your grocery costs, and if in the US adds taxes to it automatically too.
A simple little box that will reduce a plastic bag to the original tiny plastic pellet it came from. You'd collect the pellets and maybe once a year return to the grocery store, all ready to make into new bags. 100 recycling because the trash collection and recycling system isn't involved at all.
An electric shaver with a small attachable vacuum to suck up the hairs as you shave. Hate doing full body shaves and cleaning up all the mess.
A machine that can fold your laundry for you. Feels like we should have robot butlers by now. They don't have to be terribly smart, just good folders and vacuumers.
What's something you used to hate a child but have grown to love as an adult?
Olives. Hated them as a them now.
Socks and underwear as a kid, oh geez thanks, rolling eyes face. As an adult, holy shit thank you, this saves me a trip to the store.
Nappy.
Steak and mashed potatoes.
Green olives.
Showering. After a really long and annoying day, a shower hits different.
Brussels sprouts. They've literally been bred to taste less bitter. Now I love roasted Brussels sprouts.
How many times is this goddamn question going to be asked?
Going to sleep.
Tomatoes, salt and vinegar to Home Depot.
Strawberries.
Going to bed and sleeping.
Spankings. JK, it's sleep. Hated going to bed as a kid, now I just wanna be in a coma every day.
Sleeping.
What a common phrase or word that someone can use that instantly makes you judge them.
Do you know who I am?
I have no filter.
I tell it like it is, or similarly I have no filter proceeds to be an asshole but gets hurt when people are straight with them.
Boss babe.
Calling yourself alpha male.
We are a great company that cares for our employees, or we really care about you. But 11-10 times they start to screw you over under the guise of a nice conversation. I die a little anytime a manager uses those phrases.
If you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best.
It's just a joke. Usually when a person says this, the joke is something really insensitive.
For all intensive purposes.
Alpha male.
I'm brutally honest. 9-10 times you're actually just an asshole who likes to use being honest as an excuse or justification to keep being an asshole.
What is a dirty little secret about an industry that you have worked in, that people outside the industry really should know?
Wash the top of your cans. Mice poop on those things all the time while they are in warehouse or transit.
Not all that much of a secret, but I used to work in a peanut butter factory. We produced about 25-30-ish different store brands ranging from very cheap to stupidly expensive. We had a grand total of 3 recipes: chunky, not chunky and no additives.
I worked at a major jewelry company in the US. When we wanted to buy jewelry, we paid what it costs to make the product material, labor, shipping, plus 10. I paid around $115 for a pair of $950 diamond earrings.
High-volume recruiters spend an average of 10 seconds looking at a resume.
Which song emotionally destroys you?
Love is a losing game, Amy Winehouse. That song crushes me.
If We Were Vampires by Jason Isbell. As my husband was dying from aggressive brain cancer, the lyrics haunted me. Knowing that this can't go on forever. Likely one of us will have to spend some days alone. Maybe we'll get 40 years together. Then one day I'll be gone. Or one day you'll be gone. He's gone. It sucks.
What a wonderful world. I was difficult to comfort as a baby for a handful of medical reasons. I've been told that song was the only one that silenced my crying and had a chance of putting me to sleep. Aside from that, I've always had a strong emotional reaction to it since I can remember.
Nutshell by Alice in Chains.
Funeral Band of Horses. Listened to it all the time when I was super depressed.
How much would you pay for a list of everyone who has ever sexually fantasized about you? Why?
Why pay for a blank list?
A lot. Because my feeling assumption worry is that the list would be extremely short. Say 1, maybe 2 people. If I were proven wrong, it would be the most massive boost to my self-esteem ever. Considering I suffer from severe depression, it would feel absolutely amazing to be proven wrong.
I think this could do more damage than good. Like, imagine if your brother-in-law was on there or something.
I wouldn't pay. I never want to know that.
I wouldn't pay for this list. I think I would get more satisfaction from fantasizing about who may have fantasized about me than knowing the truth.
As a woman, I'd pay to never see that list. Creeps start perving on us before we even hit puberty. FFS.
You are asked to trigger an entire fan base. What do you say?
Will do after I throw my cast iron skillet in the dishwasher. BRB.
Dallas Cowboys last Super Bowl is on VHS.
It's just a children's show, calm down.
Star Wars is boring.
Liking lolies makes you a pedophile.
Why didn't they just fly the Eagles into Mordor?
Higher Reddit Firefly deserved to be cancelled.
My favorite part of the game is the little hi-yas that Zelda makes when I smash the pots.
The Brotherhood of Steel aren't supposed to be the good guys.
Baseball is living off nostalgia, beer, and atmosphere. Will be less popular in 5 years than it is today.
Taylor Swift writes music for women who have no emotional regulation skills.
Beyoncé doesn't slay.
Shyamalan did Avatar better than James Cameron's 2 attempts.
What Bible verse gets conveniently ignored?
The one most Christians ignore. James 1:26. Those who consider themselves religious and yet do not keep a tight rein on their tongues deceive themselves, and their religion is worthless.
I think it's a bit of every single verse.
I ignore all Bible verses to my great convenience. Mark has a nice story about how Jesus got mad at a fig tree for being out of season, so he used his Jesus powers to kill it.
Ezekiel 23:20.
All of them. There are no Christians.
Psalms 137:9. Blessed is the one who grabs your little children and smashes them against a rock.
The ones where God orders his soldiers to enslave and violate women after killing their babies. I think it was in Numbers or Deuteronomy or both.
What is a skill that you really want but don't have?
Being able to cook rice.
Telepathy.
Speaking Italian.
The ability to flirt. The ability to fart the national anthem.
Mine would be playing the drums. I've always wanted to, but I just don't have that level of coordination.
Reading other people's thoughts, only without the ending where I go crazy.
Knowing when to shut up.
Financial literacy.
To pour just the right amount of sauce on my food without having to get up for more.
I cannot shuffle a deck of playing cards. I am over the age of 60.
Speak multiple languages.
Wish I could sing and play the guitar. I still sing, but only in the car alone.
Being good at things I enjoy.
Be musically inclined or able to learn another language. I've never been able to pick any of these up. I have tried for years and nothing clicks.
To draw.
What is a common grammatical error that almost everyone makes but still manages to piss you off?
How are native English speakers even able to fuck up your?
Saying me and a friend did something instead of a friend and L. It's so common, it's basically accepted.
Good versus is an adjective, well as an I do something s not that complicated.
It sits.
Great Britain, the way people use myself to sound intelligent when they really mean me or I slightly irks me.
Definitely. Once on Facebook I saw someone put a status with defiantly, and the first comment was definitely. The poster commented back, thanks, I knew something looked wrong. I wanted to push them both into the freeway.
There aren't any grammatical errors that piss me off. If you're getting upset because of grammar, then you need to find a little more tranquility in your life. Smiley face.
What's your coldest response to "I cheated on you"?
I know. I paid him.
Oh, thank God.
Good, cause I've been cheating on you for years. Nice of you to finally move on.
Did they pay you? We're out of bread.
I am free.
No response. I'm done forever with you.
I didn't know we were a couple.
When did we become exclusive?
Oh, thank God. I thought I was going to be the one to cheat first.
Don't give them the satisfaction. Leave her and nail her sisters or friends.
Thank you for showing me you are not worth any more of time.
Yeah, I know. I'm sterile since birth, so none of your kids are mine. Good luck getting alimony pays from their dads.
How many?
I cheated on you too. Brian bet me $50 and a pack of cigarettes.
I have AIDS.
How could you do that to me?
You cheated on me. When I specifically asked you not to.
Which animal do you think is the biggest asshole?
Wasps. They are just bastards.
Mosquitoes.
I read this as which animal has the biggest asshole, and I thought surely a whale's asshole has to be watertight so that leaves like an elephant maybe? Before realizing I need to read better.
Trust that cute face. They are sociopaths.
Goose.
Humans.
Bedbugs.
Cuckoos. This is a pretty standard answer, but dumb. They literally kill their foster parents' chicks so they can get more food, and then fly away from the nest to plant their chicks in other people's nests.
The stonefish, no question. They have incredible camouflage, you just can't friggin' see them among a reef, but on top of that they have a barb on their back with a venom that leaves you in reportedly unbearable pain. You step on them because you can't goddamn see them.
What is the dumbest thing you did as a kid?
Have sex.
Having a rock fight with my friends. My parents were not happy with the ER trip.
Jumped in snow, thinking I'd sink into it. But it turned out to be a lightly covered gravel pile, and I was in so much pain because of it for weeks.
Climbing up a 50-year-old apple tree to watch a thunderstorm. The old lady had a cow.
Bought someone's broken watch. I got hustled.
My sister and I had a competition to see who could jump off the swing set from the highest height. I broke like 5 bones.
Threw a pebble on another kid's head.
Want to grow up.
Turned on the car with the garage door closed. 1. I wasn't supposed to even turn the car on. Point 2. Had no idea carbon monoxide poisoning existed. Luckily my brother heard it and turned the car off almost immediately.
What is an addiction people might not realize they have?
Doom scrolling, misery, drama. The spikes become normal to the brain, so those in toxic relationships, for example, crave those dysfunctional patterns. They crave the rush of the fights and the drama. They pull it from around them without even noticing it. Misery loves company is not just a saying. It's science.
Shopping is a big one.
Anger. I think addiction to anger is the primary force being weaponized against our entire culture right now.
Validation.
Stress. I'm convinced some people create stress in their life because they're addicted to it. Sugar addiction.
Food. People often eat far more often than necessary. They eat out of habit and not out of necessity.
Soda.
Phone addiction.
What path did you choose when you were young and still not regret up to this day?
The path of being hot and sexy beyond belief.
I was aiming to become a veterinarian at one point. I chose to change plans past college application deadlines, went in as undeclared for a major with some missed scholarship opportunities, and now I'm on a biomedical research track in Europe.
In hindsight, there were several young women in their 20s when I was in my 20s that wanted to hump me until the cows came home. I was too stupid to see it.
I chose to start riding street bikes. Done it for more than 30 years at this point, and while I don't ride every day, these days, I still like doing it.
All those hours I spent playing video games, I'm pretty sure was worth it.
I left my place of birth after a referendum that nearly split my country. So I left and never looked back.
Who is your favorite fictional villain?
Darth Vader, Bill Cipher,
Hans Gruber,
Lucifer in Paradise Lost,
Thanos,
The Master from Doctor Who.
Ultron for sure.
Rapunzel's mother Gothel. She is so hot.
the Green Ranger when he was under Rita's control.
Kathy Ames from East of Eden. She is such a well-written, interesting character.
Satan,
Syndrome.
Emmett Selch from FXIF has completely understandable motivations, but his methods and end goal are still unspeakably evil. He tries a different approach than his predecessors Askins with the protagonists to try and get them to understand. His flippant attitude to the life and current situation of the world and simultaneous undying loyalty to his people, mixed with his general sardonic demeanor, All just.
Thanos, Moai, Gemstone.
Best zombie film TV show in your opinion?
Walking Dead Seasons 1-2 really made me feel like I was watching genuine everyday people struggle to cope with the end of the world from all walks of life.
28 days later.
Shaun of the Dead.
If The Last of Us continues on its current trajectory of fucking amazing, it's gonna be that one.
Dawn of the Dead 2004. Before shit got silly. I also like 28 Days Later, but it's debatable.
I really liked Dead Set. It was bleak but realistic.
I'd say it's Train to Busan.
Shaun of the Dead and Zombieland.
Zombieland.
Wreck. The original version, not the shitty remake Quarantine.
Original Dawn of the Dead.
I'm not into zombie films, but I absolutely love the Resident Evil films. Who would with Mila Jovovich in them?
Reanimator.
What's really dangerous but everyone treats it like it's safe?
Stress.
I get a lot of tourists in my area trying to casually summit the local 14,000 feet mountain in sandals. Some weeks in the summer are absolutely nuts for SAR, the emergency room SAR search and rescue.
Revealing personal information about yourself on the internet. Household everyday cleaning chemicals. Infections. Every person reacts differently to them. Don't assume you are the average. Compressed hair. Trampolines.
Long hair around pulleys and belts. There's a YouTube channel where two young ladies are working around a sawmill with long hair, and I can't count how many times people have begged them in the comments to tuck their hair up. They don't.
Water on the road. You might be able to drive through it, but more often than not you shouldn't try. Thanks for the gold. I appreciate it.
What tattoo is a red flag?
Your GF's name tattooed after 4 weeks of relationship.
My ex-husband literally got a red flag tattooed on his wrist. I had no idea he did it until I saw it one day. I asked why he got it and he said it was a reminder to himself to not make impulsive, rash decisions. He filed for divorce and moved in with his mistress 2 months later. The red flag tattoo was apt as fuck, apparently.
My daughter's ex had a ring of thorns on his forehead, like he was trying to look like Jesus. A not Nazi eagle, that looked really like a Nazi eagle on his abdomen.
Lipstick kiss on the neck. Hooked up with a guy who had his own name tattooed on his ribs. His own full name. He ended up being a fucking psychopath. LMFAO.
What would happen is society if we found out that all coffee would be gone by next month?
Great, a good opportunity to switch to morning beer.
Lots of caffeine withdrawal symptoms, like headaches and irritability. Caffeine addiction is one of the only addictions accepted globally. All hell would break loose, smiley face.
No sweat, at least it wasn't Dr. Pepper.
Annoying people would have to get a new personality trait. Energy drink stock rises hugely.
No.
The song Englishman in New York would be on the billboard again.
We might get a 4-day work week.
Sales of tea, energy drinks, and coffees made from alternative ingredients like mushrooms would jump.
Synthetic caffeine absorbs faster into the body than natural caffeine does, so we'll be fine.
Western society might collapse.
I will die. Or switch to tea.
What makes you feel attractive?
When someone compliments me.
I never feel attractive. I get no attention from women. That should tell me something. Luckily my grandma keeps telling me how handsome I am, but she's obviously biased. Lol.
An oversized hoodie that doesn't show my body very well.
Getting compliments on my outfits when I'm in public.
How I look, but when girls give me that approval I can get cocky ass. Fits terrible. Terrible trait.
Generally it's the reaction people give when I'm out. Although getting double takes could be either great or crushing for self-esteem depending on where you are.
What makes me feel attractive? When the self-checkout machine at the grocery store doesn't ask me for assistance.
Unfortunately, I never feel attractive even though I've spent a lot of money to improve my looks.
Single people of Reddit, how do you feel about being single? I sleep in the middle of my king-size bed like a starfish, living the dream.
Since this was asked a day ago, I can outright paste my about the same as how I feel in a should not be your only source or factor for being happy.
I normally don't like it, but I'm slowly getting used to accepting it. I don't want to spend my life bitter over this.
I watch as everyone around me starts having families and marriages while I rot alone. How do you think I feels? Like you've slipped through the cracks of society, and when you voice your concern for your own mental health, most people gaslight you, saying you probably don't shower, groom yourself, or have social skills.
Shit.
I hate it.
I hate it.
I can compliment anyone and not think twice.
How would your pets do if they had to survive in the wild?
The word pet kind of tells you.
Not good at all. They are a part of our family, they would be so lost without us as we would them.
My cat would just sit there and fart itself to death.
My cat just sticks around the house, but she's pretty good at chasing other cats away. Very territorial.
I have two very aggressive cats when it comes to other people. They would just eat birds and mice while avoiding everything else.
Probably not tend to overestimate how well pets can do in the wild. Often even cats tend to struggle and end up dead if they grew up depending on people. Loads stories of people abandoning their pets on expansive farms or near forests only for them to die in traffic on a road somewhere, get attacked by other animals, or just starve to death.
She wouldn't.
What's the most hilarious punishment you've ever heard of someone receiving in the military, and how did they end up in that absurd situation?
Heh? The smallest and scrawniest dude in the company would fall out on ruck marches. So to build him up, and because it was funny, the NCOs made him run around the company when we marched anywhere not with rucks, shouting "I'm a satellite." They only made him shout on the first day, but they kept up the running orbit thing for probably 2 weeks. It actually worked.
When I was in the army, a dumbass was cruel neglectful to a military, was forced to walk 2 miles to the canine training facility with 20 dogs early the following morning, clean the kennels with bare hands, and deposit anything he picked up into the pockets of his R unit. Had 4 hours of PT, in the hot sun.
People who have cheated before, why did you do it?
He cheated first, and I was young, petty, and thought revenge would make me feel better.
Unbridled ego, unsatisfying regular sex life, and a girl who threw herself at me. I was an idiot, I acted like an asshole, and I will regret it the rest of my life.
SP basically whenever you start to consider cheating on your partner, give it a test wank first.
Insecurity. I was always on the lookout for someone who would make me feel more desirable than the last. Once I grew up emotionally, I realized what a pause I was, the hurt it caused. Hard to live with TBH. Edit. Can I just make it clear I was not a serial adulterer? It was a youthful lack of judgment.
100 pure lust. That's it. I'm not proud of it.
I kept dying.
What celebrity will you never understand the appeal of?
Salt Bae.
Chris Brown. For is a no domestic assaulter, yet for some god-awful reason he ain't in jail. He's still loved by many.
James Charles. No explanation required.
The Kardashians.
J-Lo. She's incredibly rude from people who've worked with her, and she only has one good song and that's it.
Jared Leto is a fucking lunatic. And an awful actor. So weird to me.
Andrew Tate. The D'Amelio sisters. They do literally nothing special and have no talent, yet everyone seems to love them for some reason.
Kardashians. No talent whatsoever, and there they are. Woman shrugging.
I never thought people thought Jimmy Fallon was funny even when he was on SNL, not my cup of tea. I don't find Will Smith comedic either, to be completely honest.
If you were given $1 million right now, what is the first thing you would do?
Disappear.
Kick off my world domination plans.
Bet it all on black.
Upscale my businesses.
Pay my fucking rent, that's a lie. I'd order a pizza, I'm real me all you want to. Pizza is really fucking tasty, you know I'm right.
Pay off my student loans early, put the rest in savings, continue to work and only really get into the savings for when I need it. Like I'd probably go buy a reliable, used car and buy all the stuff to completely restore my truck.
Pay off all my debts like a boring person, buy a shitload of new equipment for my job I love that I wouldn't quit, and ask to buy the house I rent. Anything that's left over I guess I'd try out somewhere safe, or I'd spend it all on weed and creme brulee.
What would skyrocket in price if a zombie attack happened?
Somehow toilet paper again.
Brains. Books. Books will skyrocket in price after few weeks of any kind of apocalyptic events, cause after solving survival problems people will get bored, and boredom is much harder to fight than any zombies. Toilet paper, ammunition, food, and arrows.
Chainmail and hammers.
Nothing. So many would die, money would be useless.
Door locks and equipment for self-defense.
Probably nothing. Stores would just get looted or barricaded up.
Harsty rumor, probably.
Penicillin.
1. Water. 2. Gasoline. 3. Toilet paper, toilet roll.
Ammo.
One of my coworkers was a prepper and he swore lighters would be gold if the world ended.
Beans. What is something that Reddit thinks is more popular than it actually is?
Open marriages. People who make over $400,000 a year. TikTok trends. Most crazy TikTok trends amount to an absolutely tiny amount of people doing something stupid, but the media pumps it up for engagement and Reddit falls for it hook, line and sinker.
Reddit.
Their opinion.
Coding. Honestly, judging from the comments, it seems 85% of Redditors are juvenile coders with zero life experience other than Netflix.
Professional influencers. The people causing problems are just jerks.
Boycotting big corporations. People in general don't care about what goes on behind the scenes much. They might hate greedy CEOs but not enough to boycott.
OnlyFans. Redditors act like half the 20-something women they know are on it.